How to be a filmmaker. Follow these steps and you too can be like us. Step 1. Buy a camera. Now wait 6 months for it to become obsolete. Buy a new camera and repeat as necessary. There's no end to this cycle. Step 2. Now buy a lens. Then buy more lenses. Then sell all your lenses and buy primes. Then sell all your primes and buy cine lenses. Then figure out how you're gonna pay back your mom. Step 3. Can't afford brand name gear? Do it yourself.
Check out my new slider.
Check out my follow focus.
Yeah, stabilizers are too expensive.
Step 4. Now that you've acquired all your gear, line it up in a perfect grid and post it on Instagram. Step 5. Learn film jargon such as the following: key, jib, speed, fill, glass, shutter, zebra, bokeh, honeywagon, applebox, crafty, stinger, C47, and star white. Step 6. Graduate from film school. To pay off your massive student loans, start your glamorous new job in the film industry as a PA.
I said almond latte. I'm vegan, you imbecile!
Step 7. Aspire to achieve the highest resolution possible.
By my calculations, this baby shoots 50K.
Step 8. There is no such thing as too much memory.
Yeah, I just picked up this baby. It's like 6 terabytes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just picked up this bad boy. It's like 3 petabytes.
Step 9. If you come across a red camera, you are required by law to post a picture of it on the internet.
Oh my god, that card is 256 gigabytes.
Step 10. Learn how to cooperate with your boom operator.
Up, no. Down. Up, back up. A little right. Now up. Now you're in the shot. Are we in film school here?
Step 11. To improve your production value, try adding the following: slow-mo, color correction, letterbox, lens flares, Hans Zimmer, and explosion. Step 12. Learn what a gaffer does.
Yeah, what the hell, man? Call sparking.
Oh, sorry. Sparking.
Step 13. Let everyone know you're a filmmaker by holding your camera in your profile picture. Step 14. Filmmaking is expensive. Ask your friends for favors.
Hey, can I borrow your camera?
Hey, can you gaff for me this weekend?
Hey, do you know any hot girls? I need an actress.
Can you promote my film?
Can we shoot in your house for like an hour or two? Or like a month or so?
Step 15. Now that you're a pompous cinema snob, consistently work classic movies into conversation.
Did you guys see the latest Fast and Furious movie?
Oh yeah, it was dope.
It did not live up to the high standards of the early Kurosawa works or the avant-garde work of a young Orson Welles in Citizen Kane, my personal favorite film.
Step 16. If you choose to film action sports, accept the fact that your camera will eventually get destroyed. Step 17. Know the difference between a pile of sticks and a pile of sticks, a dolly and a dolly, a clapper and a clapper, a squib and a squid, gorilla shooting and a gorilla shooting. Step 18. Your extensive knowledge in film will ruin the movie viewing experience for yourself and others.
Did you see that continuity error? Was this shot on Alexa? It looks like it was shot on Alexa. If I was directing this would have been 10 times better.
Step 19. Now that everyone else is doing it, buy a drone.
Oh, cool drone. Can I try?
Sure, I just got it.
Are you allowed to be flying around these kind of places?
Yeah, should be fine.
Step 20. Don't worry about continuity errors. Nobody will notice.
I'm breaking up with you.
Okay,
Do you not even care?
I guess not.
Okay, see, this is exactly why we're breaking up.
Okay.
Step 21. Fix your drone and fly it again.
You got a new drone?
No, I just fixed it.
Can I try?
Well, okay.
Is it waterproof?
No, not at all.
Step 22. Spend hours upon hours learning to balance your stabilizer.
I've been balancing this thing for 5 hours, and I still can't get it right.
Okay, cool. Well, I gotta go shoot. I'll see you later.
Step 23. Join the film versus digital debate.
I prefer film, while you prefer digital format. Would you like to argue about it on the internet or in real life?
Ooh, internet, please.
Step 24. Camera guys are notorious for saying one more. To hide your mistakes, try putting the blame on your talent.
Cut!
Can we get one more? I think she flubbed her line.
Really? I don't think I flubbed the line.
No, she definitely flubbed her line.
Did you forget to hit record?
No, she flubbed her line. All right, action!
Step 25. Show off your pretentious directing skills in the real world.
Okay, perfect. Now this time I want you to pretend you're a baby seahorse trapped inside a human body. And action.
Dude, it's just for Instagram.
Step 26. Don't underestimate your client's stupidity.
That color correction, that's just not right. Could you make it warmer but bluer? Actually, could you just give me the raw footage?
Step 27. Something is always bound to go wrong on set.
Hey, did you bring the batteries?
I thought you were bringing them.
Did you leave them at home again?
I'll be back in an hour.
Step 28. Tell everyone about your new crowdfunded web series.
So if you donate $100 to my Kickstarter, you get a free copy on Blu-ray and a 10-minute Skype sesh with the director.
You mean you?
Yeah, me! 10 whole minutes!
Step 29. Waste half your life looking for lens caps.
I swear it was in my pocket.
Has anybody seen a lens cap?
Do you have my lens cap?
I swear it was in here.
Step 30. Always take advantage of good light during golden hour.
Babe, I have something to tell you. I'm pregnant.
Can you hold on a sec? I don't want to lose this light.
Step 31. Learn the importance of sandbags.
Hey, did you throw sandbags on those lights?
What sandbags?
And finally, solve all your problems by fixing it in post.
Hey, wasn't this supposed to be a night scene?
We'll fix it in post.
And wasn't the main actor supposed to be Chinese?
I said we'll fix it in post.
What did we miss? Leave.
This is an example of a pan shot, often used to reveal an object or character. This is an example of a tilt shot, which can also be used to reveal something that wasn't previously in the frame. This is an example of a crab shot, often used to track an object or character as they move through the frame. This is a tracking shot, and is often used to track characters when they walk forwards or backwards. This shot obeys the rule of thirds, having each character on 1/3 of the screen and having their eye line on the top third. This shot is an extreme close-up. It allows us to see small details in the character's face, such as emotions, and also emphasises small movements such as an eyebrow raise. This is a close-up shot, which makes the audience feel uncomfortable as they are so close to the character's face. This is an example of a medium close-up. This is an example of a medium or mid shot. This is a wide shot. This is an extreme wide shot or an establishing shot, which can be used to show the location of the scene. This is an example of a focus pull. This is an example of handheld camera operation and is often used in action movies to make the scene feel more dramatic. This is an example of a low angle shot and is often used to make a character seem large or powerful. And then this is an example of a high angle shot, often used to make a character seem small or weak. This is an example of slow motion. It can be used to make a scene feel more dramatic and also draw attention to a key detail that spends longer on the screen. This is an example of shot reverse shot, in which the camera is placed over the subject's shoulders and obeys the 180-degree rule, alternating between the two subjects. We most commonly see this technique in interviews. This is an example of match on action, in which the cut is made invisible by the repetition of the same action at the same point, masking the edit entirely. This is an example of look room, where the character is on 1/3 of the screen and has 2/3 of the screen for what is called look space. This is an example of a jump cut, often used in horror movies for a cheap scare. These are examples of noddies, and they're also used in interviews. They're used to cut away from the subject's face if they make a mistake whilst talking, and the edit hides the fact that they've messed up. This is an example of a cutaway and can be used to draw attention to something important in the scene. These are examples of some basic transitions. This editing technique is known as parallel action, and it's when it links multiple characters in multiple places to a single scenario. What you see here is an example of fast-paced editing. In this, the shots are cut very quickly between each other and there's not much time for each shot. This emphasises the drama in the scene and makes it feel more urgent and panicky. In contrast, this shot is an example of slow-paced editing, in which the cuts are slowed down completely and emphasises a much more calm and relaxed feel to the scene. This is used to distinguish between dramatic and calm moods in films. There are two main categories of sound in filmmaking. The first is known as diegetic sound, and it's when you can hear the sound of something that you can actually see visibly in the scene. For example, you might be able to hear the sound of my alarm clock ticking or the sound of my computer fan. The second type of sound is known as non-diegetic sound, and it's when you can't actually see something in the scene visibly, but if you came to the actual location, you might expect to hear the sound anyway. In my bedroom, an example of non-diegetic sound could be the sound of a car going past the window or even the sound of birds outside. There are three types of microphone that are commonly used in filmmaking. The first is what I have on my camera now. This is a shotgun mic, and it's a directional microphone, so it picks up the sound from just what's in front of it and not from sideways on. This is most commonly used in conjunction with a boom pole, and it's used to get the microphone above the subject and just pointing down, so you only get the sound you want and you don't get any unwanted sound leaking in from the sides or above. A lav mic is most commonly used in interview situations where you can hide the microphone on people without having to have the need for a boom pole to be above people pointing down. And it's also used if you go out into the streets with documentaries and things, because people can have a portable sound recorder on them, and then the audio can be taken from the sound recorder later and synced up in post with the footage. The last type of microphone is what I have here. This is known as a cardioid mic. This particular one's a condenser microphone, and they're very, very good for doing voiceovers and things like that because they capture very, very high quality sound, and there's a lot of bass in the sound, so it sounds very professional. They're also commonly used to record vocals or instruments because of the high sound quality.
This is an example of bad audio.
This is a short film we made that combines most of the editing and camera techniques I explained earlier. As you can hear, underneath this short film we have a music track. Music and soundtracks are commonly used to emphasise the feeling or mood of the scene. For example, a shot of someone crying and hugging friends and family can be interpreted two ways depending on the music that's put behind it. If happy music is used underneath, it will make the character appear joyful, whereas if sad music is used, it will be obvious that the character is upset. Furthermore, what I'm doing now by talking over the footage is known as narration. Narration, funnily enough, can be used to add narrative to a scene. It can be used to explain the plot line or outline key details that may not have come across in the scene. Filming outside tends to lead to the sound of a lot of wind coming down the microphone, which is a huge pain as it normally means that the audio will be unusable when you get back. This tends to be the downfall of filming on mobile phones, as they have omnidirectional microphones, which means they pick up the sound from all around them. Another big problem with audio is that you can get a lot of background noise that you don't really want, like the sound of cars going past or the sound of aeroplanes going overhead. Also, when recording inside, the sound of fridges, vending machines and air conditioning units can make a lot of noise as well. A lot of people that use separate microphones don't record to the camera, but they actually record to a portable sound recorder, such as the Zoom H1. One of the problems with this is that the sound doesn't go into the camera, but rather into the recording device. This means it will have to be synced up later with the footage in post-production. Although you can get software to do this, it tends to be quite expensive, so a lot of people try to do it manually. However, this can often lead to the problem of having audio out of sync with the footage. Here's an example. The last type of microphone is what I have here. This is known as a cardioid mic. This particular one's a condenser mic. As you can see, it's not the best. The last sound technique I'm going to mention is sound effects. There are several different categories of sound effects. The first one is Foley, which is the recreation of sounds that would be in the scene anyway. Foley is often used if the sound from the original recording has been taken out, and so the sounds you would expect to hear in the scene have to be re-recorded. You also have ambient sounds such as background noise, which is like the adding of cars and the sound of planes, people talking and things like that if you're in a busy area. And then you have the adding of sounds for things like visual effects such as explosions and gunshots, etc. Sound effects come in a variety of shapes and forms and make the overall video seem more rounded in terms of sound. That concludes this tutorial of camera work, editing techniques and sound techniques. Thank you very much for watching.
Indie Mogul.
Hey Indie Mogulers, welcome to Friday 101. Today we'll be going over 7 things that you should know about making short films, and I should say up front that this list involves topics that are specific to short films. In doing some research, I found a lot of people who gave advice online under a heading like tips on how to make a short film, and really it was just a list of what to do when making any film, no matter how long. Things like be prepared, write an outline before scripting, storyboard your shots, cast the right actors, which, yeah, no shit. This is about short films, and in quite a few ways they are their own thing. Many great directors have started out making short films that caught the attention of someone important. Steven Spielberg made Amblin, Oliver Stone made Last Year in Vietnam, Martin Scorsese made one of my favorite short films that they had us watch at film school, The Big Shave. I'll be linking to that one at the end for sure. Even more recently, filmmakers like Jared Hess or James Wan made their careers by taking a short film and then expanding them into features after getting noticed with the short. More on that later, but that's actually why I'm doing this topic today, as I myself am planning on making a short with the hopes that I'll be able to move that idea forward towards a feature. The following is a list of what I consider to be important as I move ahead with my short film. They're not rules, remember that. I hate rules. Rules stifle creativity. Anytime someone says to follow a rule in filmmaking, treat it as more of a flexible guideline that will be right almost all the time, but don't be afraid to think differently if your own creative mind pulls you in the opposite direction. Short version, you don't have to agree with me, and if you don't, or if you have something additional to add that I don't cover in this video, then leave a comment below with your own thoughts on the subject. Now, first things first, let's start out simple. What qualifies as a short film? According to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, a short film is defined as having a running time of 40 minutes or less, including credits. See? Easy start. But before you run out and make your 40-minute long film, pause, take a breath, and listen to thing number 2. The best length for a short film, assuming you want to actually do something with it besides a public exhibition at your house with your friends and family, is at most 10 to 15 minutes. With 15 minutes being the number you shouldn't go over if you can help it, and 10 or less being optimal. This is due to how film festivals generally schedule things. They like the showtime hours to look neat and tend to round off to the nearest hour or half hour. So if they have a 2-hour block, say 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., and the feature length they'll be showing is an hour and 40 minutes, they'll usually use that extra 20 minutes to show a few short films, and having something that more easily fits their scheduling plans can increase your odds of being chosen, if only because it came down to your movie or a movie that would throw everything off. So no longer than 15, but best to keep it under 10. Got that? Good. And now that you know to keep it short, equally important is to keep it simple, which brings us to number 3. Efficient exposition, or to oversimplify, explain the important stuff quick. This is the tricky part about short films. It's the part of any story that takes time to explain the backstory or any information that is needed to fully understand what you're watching. When doing a short film, overwrought exposition is something you want to avoid more than anything, and a lot of inexperienced filmmakers make this mistake by throwing in too much expositional dialogue to get things across about the characters that they don't feel the short film medium is allowing them the time in which to do so. But it can be done, it just takes practice, like anything, and with short films, the more you can say about the story without actually having to say it, the better it will generally be, due to the lack of time that you have. For example, if you have a short action movie, don't just have characters talk at length about how tough a character is, just be sure to effectively get that across when the time comes to use that toughness. Then the audience knows just by seeing and doesn't need that extra 30 to 60 seconds eaten up to literally tell them that. Want to get better at short film exposition? Make a movie with no dialogue and keep it under 10 minutes. Get good at telling a story that way and your work will more than likely improve. Remember that. Never say what you can show. For some of the best examples I've seen on how to pull off quick exposition in a short film, I'm going to be linking at the end to the BMW film series, which came out a little over 10 years ago, all under 10 minutes, each one done by a different major film director who each had their own way of doing things. It's an excellent series if you want to know how that's done. Alright, that was a long one. Let's get to number 4. Short films can be used to jumpstart a feature. Say you've got a feature-length script, or at the very least a rough idea for one, and the idea, while not a huge studio epic, would still take more resources than you can currently gather at the moment. One of the best things that you can do to get it off the ground is to take a scene from the feature that works on its own and gives a good idea of what a longer project would be about, and shoot that scene as a short film. Take some of the names I mentioned earlier. James Wan, along with Lee Winnell, the creative team behind the Saw franchise, had their idea ready, but no funding. They made a 7-minute short film that essentially became the head trap scene that opened the feature, and used that to entice investors. Or instead of a scene, you can use a short to showcase a character and or a setting. Like when Jared Hess made a 9-minute black and white short film called Palooka, which was about a character named Seth, which was changed for the feature when the character, still played by John Heder, became Napoleon Dynamite. A well-done short film done in this vein can be enough for an investor, as it says, yes, we have a good idea, and yes, we know what we're doing. That's something that's generally pretty important. You can also use short films as an opportunity to test and practice techniques you haven't yet mastered. This happens on YouTube a lot, as you'll find a lot of videos that are short on story, if they have one at all, but heavy on things like special effects or camera tricks. This is a good idea, and while they may not be film festival material, they may at least be eligible for various video contests. Which brings us to, short film contests can make you money. This is hardly news to those of you who watch Indie Mogul regularly, as we talk about this a lot, and Griffin often links to the latest update from onlinevideocontest.com at the end of Indie News each week. So I won't go on and on about it, I just felt that it should be on this list, though I will say we have a video that is being shown on Moguler Made in the next week or two, a PSA about wearing a helmet when riding a bike that's only a few minutes long, and was made by a relatively new 14-year-old filmmaker who won $2,500 with it. Don't you want $2,500? Or any dollars, really? So be sure to check out online video contests if you haven't already. Finally, thing number 7, something that may sound pretty ambitious, but really it seems like something that should be a bigger deal. If you want to make a short film that can be considered for an Academy Award nomination, either as a short narrative, documentary, or animated film, there are a select number of film festivals that can give you a chance to qualify. And those lists are right down there in the description of this video. And I bring this up because, especially in this day and age, it really surprises me that we don't make a bigger deal out of those awards. They're on the main Oscars show. The people who get nominated get to go to these shows and be a part of a big Hollywood Awards shindig, and they get their time on highly rated national TV. With YouTube and various other short film outlets, someone should really start a push to make these a bigger deal. Like when people watch college sports and talk about the young guys and who should get drafted when they're ready to move on to the pros. Or when a wrestler wins the Intercontinental title, and you know that that's just a stepping stone to eventually pushing the guy to the main event, just like you know current IC champ Wade Barrett is going to be one day. I just came out as a wrestling fan. So, as if you haven't heard it enough, I will be making a short film of my own in the coming months that I hope to turn into a feature in some way later on in the year. As I get further into the process, we'll have a few more educational-ish episodes about the various stages along the way, along with some behind-the-scenes episodes instead of your average Friday 101. Those should be fun. But we're still a month or so away from the start of that. In the meantime, send me your filmmaking questions. I don't know if I'll still be doing as many Friday 101 mailbags as usual in the coming year once everything gets started, so I want to get it out of the way, maybe even 2 of them in a row before the bigger stuff starts. Send your questions as usual to friday101mail@gmail.com, or, and this is even better as far as I'm concerned, follow me on Twitter at RussellRules and tweet me your questions with the hashtag Friday101mailbag. I might even do a whole Twitter edition of the mailbag if I get enough questions that way. So that is it for me this week. See you all next week. And about that whole wrestling fan thing, that's just, it's... who am I kidding? Hell, I'm going to WrestleMania 29 in 2 months, and I can't f***ing wait. And while I'm on the subject, what happened to CM Punk at the Royal Rumble last week was a damn travesty.
Now, as you might have noticed on this channel, I do like my filmmaking gear. So I've made my own camera sliders and LED lights, anything that'll make videos better on a budget, basically. And while this isn't on a budget, they are quite expensive, today I'm having a look at camera gimbals. Now, these are pretty incredible devices, as you can mount a camera on top and it stabilizes it extremely well. Obviously this one is for a smartphone and this one is for a full-sized camera. So let's see how they compare and see whether they are worth investing in. Now, the larger of the two, which is the Xinion Crane, comes in a handy packaging case, but it does need a bit of assembly before use in the form of screwing on the handle, which contains the batteries. Before using it, you also need to balance the camera, which is simple enough and takes only a minute or so. Ideally, you need to get it to a point where it can be pointed in any direction and stay there of its own accord, and having this done means that you'll get the best stabilizing results. Now it can be turned on and the camera will be magically stabilized. It does a great job of this, allowing you to get smooth sweeping shots easily. This essentially takes amateur video recording and makes it professional looking. I've been very, very impressed with the kind of shots you can get with this, and it's fun and easy. It makes such a difference to the overall video making process. If you jog normally with it, you may get bobbing effects though, and that's because it can't correct for positional changes, only rotational ones, so you'll need to adapt your movement accordingly. Now, it does kind of feel a bit heavy after a while. I do sort of wish it had 2 handles, but, you know, I might make a DIY rig for that at some point. But, you know, as it is, it's a very practical design, so not too many complaints there. It has got 3 different modes, which can be activated by pushing the thumbstick a number of times. The default mode is follow mode, so it follows your rotational movement horizontally, and you can use the thumbstick to look up and down with it. And a single tap on the thumbstick locks the camera, so it doesn't matter where you're looking, as it always faces the same direction. And you can use the thumbstick to pan the camera if required. This makes it actually quite a useful tripod replacement. Now, giving it a double tap takes it into full follow mode, so it follows you vertically and horizontally. This is a very handy mode when you're following a moving subject, because it makes it easy to focus on the subject itself. Now, 3 taps activates selfie mode, which is what I was using at the start of the video, and you know, it's pretty handy. So overall, I would say that this is a very impressive gimbal, especially considering its price and what else is on the market. As a one-man band on YouTube, this is the kind of technology I really appreciate. And it's not just me who likes this. If you look around, the general consensus is that it is a good gimbal. So you can find pricing and links and stuff in the description. So what if you don't own an expensive camera? Well, that's where the Crane's much smaller cousin comes in, the Xinyun Smooth Q. This has all of the features of the Crane, only in a much lighter and cheaper package intended for smartphone users. As many smartphone cameras have exceptional video quality these days, being able to get smooth, sweeping camera moves launches them into being usable production tools. In fact, just being able to get smooth everyday recordings on a whim is just super useful, and it's actually small and light enough to fit relatively comfortably in a back jeans pocket, meaning that it is likely to get a lot of use as you can just have it with you more often. Now, one criticism I do have with its design is that to balance a larger smartphone you need to shift the arm horizontally, which prevents it from folding flat for stowing. This seems a little bit of a silly oversight. Another thing is that while the gimbal itself works brilliantly on the whole, my unit arrived with a slightly bent handle, which meant that it scuffed the side and caused it to fail. I managed to fix this by forcing it quite strongly back into position. It could be just a once-off fluke, but it's something that you should still be aware of. I personally have come to like it a lot, and I've ended up taking it with me simply because it's so light and performs well. Again, you can find pricing and all that stuff in the description. Now, for what it's worth, these were sent to me for free from this Smooth Q from the manufacturer and the big one from GearBest. Take that for what you will. It's not influenced my review. But, you know, it's something worth keeping in mind. And that's just what comes with having a big YouTube channel, is that companies want to send you stuff for free, which is great, but also, you know, you need to be careful with it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it interesting, and I'll see you in the next one, which will be a DIY build. So bye for now.